The galaxy had forgotten Earth. 1,000 years had passed since humanity's golden age, when their fleets ruled the stars and their technology reshaped worlds. Now only ruins remained, crumbling space stations. Silent colonies and legends whispered among the younger species who inherited the void. Diana pressed her scaled hand against the memorial stone on Terra Nova. The inscription had worn smooth, but she knew the words by heart. Here rests Captain Sarah Chen, last of humanity's children. The Xinthian archaeologist had spent her career studying the extinct species, fascinated by their impossible rise and tragic fall. Still mourning the primitives? Her colleague Krex clicked his mandibles in what passed for amusement among his kind. They burned bright and died fast. That's the way of warlike species, Diana's eyes flashed. They weren't just warlike. They were brilliant, adaptive. They went from ground-dwelling mammals to galactic powers in mere centuries. No other species has matched that, and yet they're extinct. Krex gestured at the empty colony around them, wiped out by the Velkarn swarm. Perhaps if they'd been less aggressive, more diplomatic. The Velkarn don't negotiate, Diana snapped. They consume. Every species knows this now. As if summoned by her words, the sky darkened. Not with clouds, but with ships. Thousands upon thousands of organic vessels that blotted out the sun. The Velkarn had returned, and this time they'd brought their full fleet. Diana's communicator screamed warnings. Across the galaxy, colony after colony went dark. The Velkarn were making their final push, determined to devour every sentient species in their path. The Galactic Council's combined fleets had barely slowed them before. Now there would be no stopping them. We need to evacuate. Krex grabbed her arm, pulling her toward their ship. But Diana's eyes had caught something else. In the chaos, the memorial stone had cracked, revealing something beneath. A smooth metal surface that hummed with dormant power. Her translator implant struggled with the ancient human text etched into it. In our darkest hour, when the last of us falls, wake those who cannot die. Her hands trembled as she brushed away more debris. Beneath the memorial lay a vault door, sealed with technology far beyond what the humans had publicly shared. A biometric scanner pulsed weakly, its red light shifting to amber as it detected her presence. "What is that?" Krex whispered. "A failsafe," Diana breathed. The humans knew they might not survive, but they left something behind. The scanner turned green. It had accepted her, any living being, as the trigger. The last human had indeed fallen, and now the conditions were met. Deep beneath Terra Nova, in a facility that had waited in silence for a millennium, lights flickered to life. Cryogenic pods hissed and clicked, their ancient mechanisms still functioning perfectly. Inside each pod lay a human, but not the fragile beings Diana had studied in historical records. These were titans, super soldiers created in humanity's desperate final years, when they realized the Velkarn could not be defeated by conventional means. Genetic engineering, cybernetic enhancement, and technologies borrowed from the edges of understood science had created something new. Warriors who could survive in the void of space, who healed from wounds that would kill normal beings, who could fight for days without rest. Project Lazarus, the files called it. Too dangerous to deploy while humanity lived for fear they could never be controlled. Set to activate only when humanity was extinct and the galaxy faced extinction alongside them. Oliver's eyes opened first, crystal blue irises that glowed faintly in the darkness, scanning his surroundings with enhanced vision. His augmented mind processed a millennium of missed time in seconds, accessing the facility's databases through neural implants. Humanity, extinct. Galactic status critical. Velkarn invasion active. He smiled grimly. Well, we're fashionably late. Around him other pods opened. Men and women, each one a masterpiece of human ambition, stretched limbs that hadn't moved in 1,000 years. Their armor materialized around them, nanomachines responding to thought commands, weapons forming from programmable matter. There were only 50 of them. 50 against a swarm that had consumed hundreds of worlds. Oliver looked at his team, warriors he'd trained with in another lifetime. Remember the mission? Protect the innocent, said Commander Reeves, her dark skin gleaming with subcutaneous armor plating. No matter the cost, even if humanity is gone? Asked young Marcus, barely 18 when they'd entered the pods. Especially because humanity is gone, Oliver replied. We're humanity's last gift to the galaxy. Let's make it count. They rose to the surface like vengeful ghosts, 50 soldiers against an armada. The Velkarn ships descended on Terra Nova, their organic weapons preparing to sterilize the planet. Then Oliver and his team opened fire. Plasma erupted from weapons that bent physics itself. Soldiers leaped impossible distances, moving with speed that defied biology. They tore through Velkarn bioships with hands that could crush steel, fought in the vacuum of space without suits, and refused to fall no matter how many wounds they sustained. Diana watched from her evacuation ship in stunned silence as 50 soldiers did what entire fleets could not. They pushed back the swarm. What? What are they? Craig stammered. Humanity's legacy, Diana whispered. They knew they wouldn't survive to protect the galaxy, so they created protectors who couldn't die. Oliver stood atop a mountain of Velkarn corpses, looking up at the retreating swarm. His enhanced vision tracked their fleet jumping to hyperspace, fleeing for the first time in recorded history. He activated a broad-spectrum transmission, his voice reaching every species in the sector. This is Commander Oliver Drake of the Human Defense Initiative, Project Lazarus. Humanity may be gone, but we are not. We were created for one purpose, to protect the innocent from extinction. The Velkarn swarm ends here. Any species that threatens galactic peace will face us. We are the last humans, and we do not forgive. We do not forget. And we do not fall. Diana felt tears stream down her face. Humanity hadn't abandoned the galaxy. They'd given it guardians. The last human had fallen 1,000 years ago. But the super soldiers of old had opened their eyes, and the galaxy would never be the same.